this sprightly mood, St. John?
Friday evening, you know, and I'm off to the theatre tonight with Mark and Anita.
What are you going to see?
Oh, that Strindberg, I think it is. On at the Arts.
I believe it's Nipson. Hedda Gabler, I believe.
Oh, is it really?
And, the bell's gone, had it? No, I didn't hear it, but then again, those old ears of mine.
Oh, well, I let them out a little early, you see, Eddie.
Why?
Well, it was my turn to give the Advanced British Life and Institutions lectures, and I chose Oxford colleges to give them the other point of view for once, illustrated with slides, and I'd only just got going when, blow me tight, the old projector broke.
Broke? But we only just bought it. It's the newest model.
Yes, I think that's part of the problem, all those extra bits to master. Anyway, one of the colleges went in upside down and wouldn't come out, so I had to abandon technology and do it all off my own back, you know, reminiscences of my time at the house and anecdotes and you know, that sort of thing, the personal touch. But of course I ran out of steam a little towards the end, I'm afraid.
How many turned up?
Oh, well, about a handful.
A handful?
A good handful.
But there are meant to be 23 in the group that that special lecture's designed for.
Yes, well, I think you know it being Friday, and the sun is shining, and the back so lovely, and the camp jam-packed full of punts, but the ones who did come were jolly interested. Especially that little Italian girl, you know, almost midget size. The one with the wart.
If you mean Angelina, she happens to be Greek. Her father's an exceptionally distinguished army officer. Thomas will be very disappointed to hear about this. You know, he devised that lecture series himself, St. John. It's quite an innovation. And if you can't keep attendances up, and you know very well how important it is to keep classes going until at least the bell. Hello, my dear. You finished a trifle on your own side too, then?
Oh, isn't it past 5?
Oh, the bell hasn't gone. No, not even your part of the corridor. Intermediary dictation, wasn't it? How was your attendance?
Oh, nearly a full complement, Eddie.
Oh.
They're a very keen lot, mostly Germans. In fact, that's why I thought the bell had gone. One of them had said he'd heard it.
Oh, which one?
I think it was Kurt.
Oh, I see. Oh, my dear, have I told you what I think about your sandals?
No, Eddie.
I think they're smashing.
Well, when I first saw you in them, I wondered if they were quite comme il faut. Thomas and I had quite a thing about them. But I've been quite one around. I've come to the view that they're most fetching, or that your feet are, or both.
Thank you.
And Nigel's still in London, is he, with his co-editress?
Yes, he comes back Saturday or Sunday.
Quite a coincidence, Thomas seeing him on the train like that. He's scarcely been out of his office this many a month, as you know. And it's all working out all right, is it?
Yes, the man has been absolutely wonderful. Quite a surprise, really, because when I first met her at a party a few months ago, I thought she was, well, absolutely charming, of course, but rather feckless, if anything. But it turns out she's got a really good, tough brain. Her boyfriend's been a great help, too. He's invaluable.
But you met her at a party? How odd. I had an idea you went to school with her.
No, with her sister, Serafina.
Ah, but yes, but I was really asking about the magazine itself, how that was coming.
Oh, they finally settled on a title. It's going to be called Reports.
Terrific.
Reports. Well, to tell Nigel when he gets back that Thomas decided to take out 2 subscriptions. One for ourselves and one for the student common room. So we'll be taking a great personal interest.
Thank you, Eddie. Nigel will be so pleased.
No problem.
I'm afraid. Just to start you off and explain the rules. But first, let's get down to
The croquet's underway again. Good, good. Who's playing? Nicola, Jean-Pierre, Gisela, Teresa, Kona, Liv, and Goethe. You know, I always think that if ever our little school had to justify itself, you could do it by showing the world the spectacle of an Italian, Frenchman, a German, a Japanese, a Swedish girl, and a Belgian girl, all gathered together on an English lawn, under an English sky, to play a game of croquet. Yeah?
Absolutely, Eddie. Croquet. I must try my hand again. Haven't for years, not since my aunt's when I was a child. She had such a lawn, you know, and I remember... Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, I say, I forgot. Thomas told me to tell you he was looking for you.
Thomas, when?
Oh, just at the end of my lecture, he popped his head in.
Really, Sid, you know, I wish you'd mentioned it straight away. There would have to be something urgent for Thomas to interrupt the class. Was he going back to the office?
He didn't say, Eddie.
Oh, Mark, have you happened to glimpse Thomas?
Yes, I think he and Melanie were going up to your flat.
Oh. Well, if you should come down here looking for me, tell him that I've gone up to the flat and that I'll stay there so that we don't do one of our famous boxes and coxes.
Right, Eddie.
It wasn't he, Farmood. But what about this evening, Anita? Shall Mark and I pick you up at your place, or shall we go round to Mark's or the foyer? Or we could go to the Eagle, or
St.
you
John, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot. You see, I'm going to London. It suddenly occurred to me as Nigel can't get back till tomorrow or Sunday. Why not pop down and spend the weekend with him?
Oh, what a good idea. Much more fun than some old Gibson thing.
Does he know you're coming?
No, it's a surprise.
Oh, shouldn't you phone him first? I mean, he may be going out.
I haven't got time. Look, I've got to dash if I'm going to make 5:30. Damn, Eddie!
Oh, Christ. What about Nigel?
Hmm?
Well, surely you know.
What?
About Nigel and Amanda Southgate. They're having a passionate affair. He only started the magazine because of her. She's got literary ambitions.
Oh, Lord. Oh, no, oh, poor old Anita, but they always seem so happy.
You know, St. John, you have an amazing ability not to let the world impinge on you. Anita is the unhappiest woman I know at the moment, and has been ever since she met Nigel. Amanda is his 5th affair in the last 2 years, even if the most serious. But Anita covers for him, pretends it isn't happening, or tries to protect a reputation he hasn't got and probably doesn't want anyway. He's made her have 3 abortions, although she's desperate for children. Haven't you had the slightest inkling of any of this?
No.
And what I don't understand is why she's suddenly gone down to confront him. She's only survived so far by not daring to have anything out with him. She's never once mentioned even the most blatant of his infidelities. In fact, that's one of the things about her that drives him mad. Still, there's nothing we can do about it, is there? I mean, I haven't even got his number, so I can't warn him.
Don't you like Anita?
Well, of course I do. Far more than I like Nigel, as a matter of fact.
Well, it all seems, I mean, these things between people one cares for, it's hard to bear. But I say, what about this evening? How shall we play it? The Eagle, or shall we meet at the theatre?
As a matter of fact, St. John, I'm going to have to bow out to the theatre too.
Oh,
You see, last night, I went back to it again. My novel. First time since Camellia left it, and there was the old plain, flickering as strongly as ever. So I must get back to it this evening. Look, you haven't actually bought the tickets, have you?
No, never any need to at the Ark, so don't worry about that. But it's terrific you've started writing again. That's far more important than going to see some old Ibsen thing.
Thanks. And St. John, thanks also for your companionship these last weeks. It must have been bloody boring for you, having me crying on and on in my misery.
Oh, no, I enjoyed it enormously. not your misery. But I say, have you heard from Camellia?
Yes, this morning. She's allowing me a few hours tomorrow afternoon with my son.
Well, that's wonderful, Mark. But when will you be back?
Tomorrow evening, I suppose.
Well, perhaps we could have lunch on Sunday or dinner. Or meet for a drink and you can tell me how things went with little Tom. I'd really love to know.
Oh, blast!
You all right, old man?
Yes, yes. That doorknob, a bit too close to the door jamb, at least for my taste. Always sticking my knuckles on it. Hello, Mark. Haven't seen you around for a while. Suppose it's because you're usually gone by the time I'm finished.
Don't worry, I do my time. Right to the bell.
Oh, I meant no reflection. Good God, no. It's just that I always seem to get caught by students wanting to practice their English after hours. Doesn't help to be carrying a conversation piece around in your forehead. What happened there, Mr. Meadle? What's the matter with the head, Mr. Meadle? Mr. Meadle, what was with the head? Up the corridor and down, in classroom, in garden. By the time I've gone through it, all the details with pantomime, landlady calling to telephone, toast open and cracked linoleum, body pitching downstairs and bunch, oh, cracking down in tiles, and a settle for some serious internal injuries.
Good night.
Good night, old man. Oh, but wait a minute, we haven't fixed our meeting.
He's a hard one to get to know, isn't he?
Who? Oh, Mark, oh Lord, no. Well, perhaps to begin with, but once you do get to know him, you couldn't imagine a better friend.
Keep working on it then.
I say, I've managed to get a hold of some tickets for the theatre tonight. They're doing an Ibsen. Would you like to come?
I tell you, Ibsen's not quite my cup of tea, thanks. Besides, as a matter of fact, Oko Ree's taking me out for dinner tonight with some of the boys.
Oko what?
Ree. Oko Ree. My Japanese chum.
Oh, Balder, you mean, taking you out for dinner. Well, I didn't know you hit it off so well after your trouser.
Well, and I never thought they'd make me skip deliberately. We've had plenty of laughs about it since, now that I'm on their wavelength. That Oko Ree has got a splendid sense of humour. Loves a drink too, I gather, from some of their stories.
Well, you'll have a good evening then.
Yes, it's really more of a thank you for all the extra hours that you put in with them. They've left it to me to decide where to go, and I've decided to go to that French place that's just opened opposite Trinity. So Eddie and Thomas were saying that it's very good.
So I've heard.
Yes, well, I better get going. I'd ask you to come along, but it's not really my invitation.
No, I quite understand.
Oh, let me give you a hand with those, Melanie.
Yes,
Oh, just let them take this one off your...
Oh, really? I had them perfectly well.
Sorry, Melanie.
Thomas has just lent me that one with great warnings to be careful. It's a rare edition. If you could just put it on the table. Have either of you seen Eddie? Thomas is looking for him.
Oh, now, what did Eddie say? Oh, yes, that he was going to wait for Thomas in the office, it must have been.
Good. That's where he's gone. So you're the last two then, are you?
But yeah, but apart from of Henry, that is, he's playing croquet.
Is he? Jolly good.
No damage done, Melanie. So, Thomas is in the office, is he?
Next, why? What do you want him for?
Well, he said something about seeing if he could get me some extra pronunciation classes. As I'm part-time, I need all the hours I can get, you see.
I wouldn't go disturbing him now if I were you. He's had a particularly fraught day. He's got a terrible headache. The only person he'll want to see is Eddie.
Right. Well, in that case, good night, Melanie.
Good night. That reminds me, I'd be very grateful if you'd stop putting your bicycle against the wall where I park my car. There's not enough room for both.
Sorry about that. Right, Melanie. Oh well, I'll see you Monday then.
Right, old chap.
I really think I'd get on much better with Mr. Needle if he didn't try so hard to get on with me.
Night, Henry. See you Monday. Good night, Derek. Have a good weekend. Oh, thanks, Henry. Same to you.
Still, apparently he works very hard at his teaching. Thomas and Eddie are both rather thrilled with him by all accounts. And I really had no right to stop him from seeing Thomas. Not my business at all. But he really is in a terrible state. He spent the entire afternoon on the telephone because of that wretched Jap. You know, the big bald one? Apparently he got drunk and ran amok in that new French restaurant last night. And there was a demand
to book a table for tonight. Goodness knows what's going to happen if the bold one appears too.
So what are your plans for the weekend then, Sinton? Something on Royal, I'll bet?
Well, I thought I might take in a show tonight. That Ibsen thing at the Arts.
Isn't it the cherry orchard?
Oh, is it? Well, something terrific like that. And then a bit of supper, I suppose. I might try that French place, in fact. Might be rather amusing.
Must be jolly nice being a bachelor and having the weekend before you.
Especially in Cambridge.
Yes, terrific fun.
Well, I really must get on with this. I don't think Thomas really wants me to take it off the premises.
Oh, righto. I say, Melanie, do you like the cherry orchard?
Loathe it.
Oh. Why?
That rush and doom and gloom and people shooting themselves from loneliness and depression and that sort of thing. But then, Mother says I don't understand comedy. I expect she's right.
How is Mother?
No top form, thanks.
Well, if ever there's anything I can do, you know, if she wants company and you want to go out.
It's very thoughtful of you, Sinton, thank you.
No, I'd enjoy it. I say, that is an impressive term old Thomas lent you. What is it you're copying out exactly?
Recipes. This one's for roasted swan.
Oh, for a dinner party.
Oh, Sinton.
It's from my British Life and Institutions lot to give them some idea of a medieval banquet. Swans are protected birds, you know, these days.
Oh, yes, of course they are. Fancy thinking you give them for oh Lord. But I say, aren't they the most beautiful creatures? I was looking at one just the other day, you know, on the cam, drifting behind a punch. And we're all shouting, drinking champagne, and it was just drifting behind me. So calm. And I remember, used to be a dozen or so, used to come to a pond near my aunt's when I was, I could hear their wings, great wings beating. In the evenings, when I was lying in bed, it could be quite frightening, even after I knew what was making the noise. And then, next morning would be a dozen of them so drifting around. It's hard to imagine the long necks twining, and the way of drifting, all that power, those wings beating. I wonder where they went to. I'd like to know more about them, really. Where they go, what they...
Sinton, please don't think me fearfully rude, but I really must get this finished, and I can't write and talk at the same time, you see?
What? Oh, sorry, Melanie, no, you're quite right. I can't either. Anyway, I ought to be getting on.
Yes, with such a full evening, I do hope you enjoy it.
Yes. Well, night, Melanie. See you Monday. And don't forget about Mother. Any time.
I won't, Sinton. Good night.
Say, Henry, any chance for a game?
Actually, I've just finished, I'm afraid. Perhaps next week.
Right.
I'll hold you to that. Night.
Night.
So by the way, what things you've done during the week there, I make myself right here. It's Fanny. I know she's quite keen to see the old vineyard yards. Perhaps tomorrow night.
Nice. Oh, hello, Melanie, my dear. I thought everyone had gone.
How are they taking to the croquet?
Oh, at the moment they find it a bit sedate, I think. But another time or two around, they'll soon discover how much incivility is possible in our tranquil English lawns. Well, I better sort myself out. I promised Fanny I'd be back by 6. Where's my briefcase? Ah, yes. A pile of unscenes I seem to remember to be marked by Monday.
How is Fanny?
Oh, very well, thanks. Very well. Well, a bit tired in the evenings, what with the children in the one hand and the 2 hours volunteering for the OAPs, but she's enjoying every minute of her day.
And the children, are they all well?
Oh, yes, they're fine. Well, Susan's a little tense at the moment with her O-levels. It's a pity she's taken them so early, I think, but she insists. She's in with a particularly bright lot at the moment, and she didn't want to fall behind or let herself down. So she works her way until all hours, quite often after Fanny and I have gone to bed. But she's developing quite an interest in, well, philosophical speculation, I suppose it is, really. The other evening, she suddenly insisted, right in the middle of supper, she'd been very quiet until then, she suddenly insisted that we couldn't prove that other people existed. And perhaps when we thought about them, or saw or heard them even, that we were actually just making them up. So I had to take her up on this. And I attempted to explain to her how it is we do know other people exist, including people we don't know exist, if you follow. And she kept saying, can't prove it, Daddy. Can't actually prove it. She was right. I found myself getting quite tangled in my own arguments.
I always thought she was the one who takes the most after you.
Yes, well, I suppose she does. I'm afraid I'd rather like to think so anyway. But you haven't seen them in ages, have you? You really must come over sometime soon. Fanny would love to see you again. We all would.
That would be lovely.
Right, well, I'll get Fanny to give you a ring over the weekend, or...
Good.
Right. Oh, by the way, I've been meaning to ask, how's your mother's day nurse working out? With the name out of Dickens.
Nurse Grimes. Well enough so far. She seems a very efficient, cheerful little soul. Perhaps a little too cheerful for my taste, as apparently she belongs to one of those peculiar revivalist sects that are springing up all over the place. You know, meeting in each other's homes and chanting prayers, dancing about in their love of God.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, well, at least that's how she describes it. But Mother seems to like her.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, do give her my very best. See you Monday, Melanie, my dear.
See you Monday, Henry.
What on earth could I be thinking of? Going off with all these in my arms and forgetting my briefcase. I do that sort of thing more and more now. Or perhaps it's premature senility. Or did I get put onto the wrong track and think I was going off to teach a class? I must have thought I went out that way. Melanie? Melanie? Is something the matter?
She hates me, you see.
Who?
Mother.
Melanie, I'm sure she doesn't.
When I get home in the evenings, do you know what she does? She sits there for hours, refusing to speak. And when I put her supper on the table, she refuses to eat. I know she can only work one side of her face, but she can eat perfectly well. And when I try to feed her, she lets the food fall out of her mouth and sits there and stares with such malevolence until she'll say something utterly. Last night she said, "It's not my fault you spent your entire life in my home. I never wanted you here. But as you're too stupid and too unattractive to make any reasonable man a wife, I accepted responsibility for you. And now, I need you at last, and you refuse to pay your debt." Coming out the side of her mouth like a gangster, one of those films you used to take me to. And she wets herself. She wets herself all the time.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Melanie. Of course, I did realize that her last attack must have left her a little, well, more incapacitated, or even a little incontinent.
She's not incontinent, Henry. She does it on purpose, out of spite. She never does it with Grimes, only with me. She says, as I'm behaving like a neglectful parent, she'll behave like a neglected child. The only child I'll ever have. For she adores Grimes, or she pretends to. And she's started giving her things that belong to me, or she knows that I love. The buttons from Daddy's uniform, or the other day, a silly lithograph of a donkey that's hung on the wall of my room all my life almost. Of course, Grimes gives them back, but the worst thing is I'm beginning to hate her. I hate going home, or when I'm there, having such dreadful feelings. Because the thought of years, and it could be years apparently, years of this. So wishing she would have another attack and die now. Dreadful, too dreadful. I'm almost imagining myself doing something to get her out of the way.
But she must love you, mustn't she? Or she wouldn't resent you being away from her so much.
I can't give up my teaching, Henry. I can't. You're getting me this job was the best thing that ever happened to me. Of course, she always despised it. Even before she was ill, she used to say that teaching foreigners was a job for failures. But I love it, and I'm not going to give it up.
I only wish I could give you some comfort, my dear.
You do, Henry. You do. You're just being here, and I know that you care about me. Makes all the difference. All the difference it always has. What a fool I was not to marry you when you gave me the chance. I keep thinking of it now. And what she said about your being too young, not knowing what you were doing and blighting your career. Even then, She was my enemy. My real enemy. Of course, I'm happy that you're so happy. I wouldn't have been able to make you as happy. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, there, my dear. You mustn't think of the past. It's the future. You must think of the future. There. Perhaps I better. Hello? Oh, hello, Nigel. Yes, it is. No, Anita's gone, I'm afraid. Well, at least I think she has. Have you seen Anita in the last half hour? No, Melanie hasn't seen her either, so I'm pretty sure. Right, of course. You're at Liverpool Street and you're about to catch the 6:13 and you're back before 8. Right, I've got that. And if Melanie and I do see her by any unlikely... right. Goodbye, Nigel. Oh, and Nigel, good luck with your first issue. We're all looking forward to it enormously. Right. Goodbye. That was Nigel. For Anita. Probably realized that. She's certainly gone, hasn't she? Look, Mary, you really must come over and have a real talk with Fanny. Take you out of yourself, away from your problems.
Thank you, Henry.
No, we'd love to see you. I'll get Fanny to give you a ring, all right? Now, I really must.
Yes, you must get back.
Right, well, see you Monday, Melanie, my dear.
Monday, Henry.
Thomas not here then? I can't make it out. I've been everywhere. Up to the flat, all the classrooms, and in the office, and on the phone going all the time about some of our Japanese and that French restaurant. And they're not even French, it turns out. They're from Wiltshire. And I don't know what Thomas has said to them. I didn't even know about it. He knows I can't deal with that sort of thing. And he's booked a table for the two of us tonight at their request, forcing us to take responsibility. I don't see what it has to do with the school and a few Japanese carp-ho-bed drink. I don't know why he agreed. It really is too much for me. I don't know what...
Now, Eddie, you mustn't worry. You'll make yourself ill and it's not worth it. Why don't you go upstairs to the flat and have a rest? You know Thomas, he'll get it completely under control. He always does in the end.
Yes, he is. Of course, you're right, my dear. Thank you. And a little rest. I'll try to make Thomas have one too.
Yes, you could both do with it. And when you see him, will you give him this and tell him I'm terribly sorry. A page of it seems to have got torn. Ah, Mr. Meadle snatched it out of my hands and then dropped it. He was only trying to be helpful, of course, but you know how clumsy he is.
Oh, dear. Cousins. They're one of our favourite books. Oh, Thomas would find it difficult to forgive me, but... Oh, by the way, how's Mother?
Oh. Top form, thanks.
Good.
See you Monday.
Oh, yes, see you Monday, my dear.
Hello, Eddie.
Hello, St. John. I thought you'd left.
No, I just thought I'd see if anyone was still about.
No, they've all gone.
Ah,
Good night then, St. John.
good night, Eddie. See you Monday.
Yes, see you Monday.